Why is it always politics with Trump? Always politics. It's political attacks. It's animosity. It's beefs. It's us versus them. Constant vitriol. There used to be a time back in the day when after a disaster, Americans would come together, regardless of politics, race, religion, etc. But that's obviously a bygone era. Trump and his camp, that bipartisan unity after a disaster, is just not something that they support. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and that's how it's going to be in the Trump era. The fires in LA County were obviously very horrific, and a lot of hardworking Americans lost their homes and everything they own. And contrary to popular belief in other states, it's not just rich woke celebrities that inhabit LA County. There's a lot of middle and working class people that live there that are trying to do the best they can to support their families and thrive in the American economy. What the future holds for the areas that were devastated, I don't know, but I'm not too optimistic. Southern California real estate is some of the most valuable in the country, and international investor vultures are circling. Now, soon after the fires started raging, Trump started raging at California's political leadership. And look, I'm not the biggest fan of Gavin Newsom, and certainly some blame is warranted, but I think after a tragedy like this, there should be at least a brief period of civility before the political attacks resume. But that is simply not how Trump gets down. The standard operating procedure is going to be immediate political attacks, especially if the event is happening in an area governed by the opposite party. Now, the midair collision that claimed 67 lives was a tragedy, and it's something that definitely shouldn't have happened. It was avoidable. Now, the right thing to do is to obviously pray for the families and wait for the investigation to conclude so we can get definitive answers as to what happened. But instead, Trump is using this tragedy as a political opportunity. Trump placed a lot of blame on the transportation secretary, and the transportation secretary, much to his credit, did not take Trump's insults lying down. Good for him. You know, it's easy to be intimidated by a bully, but he stood up for himself. And this blame was misplaced. I mean, this was a Black Hawk military chopper on a military training exercise that caused this collision. It's hardly the jurisdiction of the transportation secretary. If Trump has a beef with the hiring policies, he needs to take that up with the Pentagon. But regardless, this is how it's going to be from now on. Don't expect any kind of civility from the Trump administration.